last Friday before Christmas. What should we expect in 2023? So I'm going to summarize it for you guys. Let's talk about Bitcoin in 2023. Well, here's a shocking thing. And this is a really good example of, I guess, decentralized versus centralized. Okay. Since Bitcoin's inception till now, the market cap is around 325 billion, but obviously it was much bigger before, right? But if you're looking at employees, even though Bitcoin doesn't have employees, just core developers, but roughly there's around 60 core developers, okay? But if you look at, well, like someone like Visa or MasterCard or PayPal, you look at where their market cap is and look at how many employees they have, right? Very, very different. So this is comparing a decentralized network versus centralized networks that aren't all that efficient, right? So this is quite amazing. If you think about it, Bitcoin has only been around for about 13 years, really 12 years if you think about it. And it has grown tremendously in size with very, very, very little people supporting the network. It goes to show you how well designed Bitcoin is by Satoshi, and overall the number of supporters that continue to support continues to grow and still develop. So all fantastic things. And it's not just Bitcoin. Here's an interesting one in terms of stable coins, right? Stable coins right now have way more transactions in terms of volume of transactions, like money settled, right, or money transferred. So right now, stable coins settle about $7 trillion, could go as high as $9 trillion, and that compared to, say, MasterCard 2 or Amex at $1 trillion, Discover at 200 billion, right? So stable coins, arguably, are already bigger than some of the biggest credit cards and financial institutions we have today, right? So it's not just Bitcoin. Overall, the whole ecosystem is just growing by leaps and bounds, and it's just unstoppable at this point. And that leads me to this. I've shown so many like this before, so I know this is probably less impactful, but nevertheless, it's important to recognize that Bitcoin is following the same footsteps it has before, with all these cycles since it came out, these 4-year cycles, these tops and bottoms, right? And history doesn't always repeat, but it tends to rhyme. And you can see how it has been rhyming. And that is why I'm very, very, very hopeful in 2023 that Bitcoin will make significant moves upwards, possibly. Now, I would say not back to previous highs, but we could definitely see a good recovery up 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. And then as we head into 2024, that is when we will break through our previous high and move further. But if history is on our side and previous, I don't know, yeah, let's just say if history is on our side, then we have a lot to look forward to in 2023 and 2024 and beyond. Okay, so stay strong, my friends. Even though Santa Rally may not be here, okay, that doesn't mean that we should give up. You know, Santa takes a break every year or 4 years. Sometimes he does take a break when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto, but he always comes back stronger than ever. All right, and then last few things, I did see this, you know, Cardano Whales. Even though Cardano has been weak, Cardano Whales, they're pesky whales. They don't go away, so they keep accumulating. Addresses with 10,000 to 100,000 ADA now hold their largest percent of supply in a year and a half. Look at that. That's a crazy jump right there. Crazy jump. So Cardano Whales not going away And not only that, they are buying and buying and buying and buying. And there's a lot of metrics like this. I could pull this up for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for Cardano, for Polygon, for BNB. They're all showing the same thing. The big money, the big whales, they are all stocking up in anticipation of better times, which I believe is in the second half of 2023. I think CNBC is not paying attention to this. This is actually pretty good news, but maybe inflation data is not so looked at anymore because we know that Fed Chair Powell is starting to turn more dovish and starting to cut his rate hikes. But we did get another inflation data reading this morning, PCE, and it shows that inflation is going down. We dropped from 6.1% to 5.5% year to year in November. That's terrific. That's fantastic. PCE is actually what Fed Chair Powell looks at more than CPI. And it does show that inflation is starting to come down. And in January, when we do look at inflation CPI for December, I'm pretty sure it's going to show the same thing, that it's still moving down. And that's terrific. But again, I don't even see this posted on CNBC. It's like they think this is not important news anymore, right? But the next FOMC meeting will be February. So we do have a full month that we don't have to worry about Fed Chair Powell, right? But of course, this is still important because people are still wondering what's going to happen in 2023. What's going to happen with the recession? Are we going to get into deeper recession? Is it going to be a long climb back, or is it a mild recession? You don't know. But what we do know is this. 2022 has been an absolutely horrible, horrible year. Stocks see double-digit losses. That's if you're not in tech. If you're in tech, you're seeing almost triple digits, which doesn't even make sense because then it'll be at zero. But we have seen stocks like Tesla get hammered, down 70%. Facebook get hammered. Amazon get hammered, right? We have seen a lot of big tech get hammered. And, of course, we saw Bitcoin get hammered and Ethereum get hammered and everything else, right? And the explanation I was saying just not too long ago, saying this makes sense. Bank of America is now reporting that equity funds are receiving the largest outflows they have ever seen, right? Why right now? Well, according to them, it's because of tax loss harvesting. They believe tax loss harvesting is happening right now, which is a strategy that involves selling assets at a loss to offset capital gains, right? So there are a lot of fund managers that are probably doing this right now. A lot of investors probably doing this right now. I think some of you guys know that already. I've been telling you guys, one way to take advantage of your losses in 2023 or 2022 is to utilize tax loss harvesting and wash trading, because in crypto, wash trading is still legal. Okay, this is the US. So unlike stocks where you have to wait 30 days before you buy back in, you don't have to with crypto. You can sell and buy back in like right away, like immediately afterwards, right? So it is something that a lot of people are looking at right now, and just keep that in mind if you want to take advantage, right? So this could be the reason why we keep seeing these sell-offs, this brutal sell-off. Santa rally basically has been canceled. For crypto, maybe not yet, because we still have 2 more days, right? Crypto's 24/7. We don't have to worry about market closes like stocks, right? So we still have a chance, small, tiny chance in 2 days that we get a significant rally. But as for now, 2022 I don't know. It's just been a bad year, right? With all the geopolitical stuff, macro stuff, all the crypto stuff, the collapses, everything has happened. It's been a bad year. All right. Moving forward, what else is there? Facebook, Meta agrees to pay $725 million to settle this privacy lawsuit. This involves the Cambridge Analytica, which they allowed this analytics company to take third-party data without consent and use that to possibly rig the elections to the U.S. president election two terms ago. So nearing $750 million. That's quite a lot. As for FTX news, this is getting complicated. There are basically two people going after Robinhood Shares right now. SBF himself and BlockFi. Now, BlockFi is interesting because BlockFi said that the reason why they loaned out a whole bunch to Alameda is because Caroline put down the Robinhood shares as collateral. So BlockFi is arguing that 7.6% stake they have belongs to them. They actually have that in writing, that Caroline put that down as collateral for the loan that they took out. So BlockFi has been trying to get after it. But here's the thing. Did Caroline have authority to do that? Because it turns out the shares are owned by another company called Emergent that's owned 90% by SBF himself. So now SBF also has been on record been trying to claw back those shares for whatever reason. So it's getting real complicated over the 7.6% stake. And the new CEO of FTX is telling Robinhood or telling courts to freeze these shares and not distribute them. But you know, where is it going to go eventually? Are they going to be sold off, given back to the creditors or not? Or are they going to be given to BlockFi, right? I don't know. And if it was given back to BlockFi, or if they were given to BlockFi and BlockFi sells it, is that enough to prevent them from going into bankruptcy, right? I don't know. But yeah, this whole thing is still very, very, very confusing. Of course, I did report on them last night about the $250 million bail, right? Still very, very suspicious. Everyone's still talking about it. What did Caroline and Gary, what's their plea agreement? What did they agree to? There's just still a lot of stuff going on. And you know what? It gets more complicated because it turns out, well, we already knew this, but SBF, before they collapsed, they were lobbying like crazy, right? So the top guy at the SEC, the top general counsel, steps down because it turned out back in the day, he was having some expensive dinners with SBF. And it wasn't just him alone. A lot of people from the CFTC and SEC also had some expensive dinners with SBF. So SBF was lobbying left and right, okay? He was getting what he wanted. And all these guys now are starting to feel the heat. So this guy just stepped down, didn't reveal why he stepped down, probably because of this connection, right? What about Gary himself? What about the CFTC guys, right? They're all probably feeling the heat right now. So it's just very, very, it's all connected. Even the judge that gave SBF, bail, she's connected too. She's married to one of the partners of the firm that helped FTX in a business deal. Ooh, I'm drawing a blank. I just covered this last night. Some kind of big business deal that FTX did. So, I mean, even the judge is somehow connected to this. I mean, it's just, man, this thing is wild. It's wild. It's like cancer. You just don't know. It's like spread to everywhere, right? Anyways, moving on.